Hello, everyone.
Hello, good evening.
Marius, and Karolis today again, and today we had a bit short delay for our podcast, and Marius fascinated me with a context of what he wants to talk about today because we do not plan this ahead. We allow the flow to hit us, and we just come up with a topic and we splash it around. As much as we can share it from ourselves. So, Marius, tell us, everyone, what kind of a topic we're gonna hit today.
Today we're going to talk about enlightenment, and this topic actually arose yesterday after we had our chat conversation, where I was talking about other people's energies uh, in kind of disturbing my energy or in impacting my energy. That
Like you mentioned the word drowning a little bit, draining that
Yes,
energy.
like
Yes.
depending of who we surround with,
Yeah.
that's where we're going. And then one of the things what I've learned during the day, or what I've heard during the day, and what really stuck with me was that enlightenment can be achieved only by two ways. One way is by having everything, like achieving everything you ever wished for, and understanding that that's not what you need, that it naturally kind of drops off as a surface, as something what society put us on as success, and that's what we went for. And after releasing all that success which was achieved, enlightenment can come. Or by losing everything and understanding that even without everything you're fine.
Okay.
And why these two ways is because, at least the way I see it, I see a lot of people being really average, living average lives, basically working 9 to 5. They come back. Most of the relationships are like, oh, hello, we live in the same house. It's just cheaper to live with. Like, there's no real feelings, no real emotions anymore, but like, it's just very comfortable. So there is no point of changing nothing. And people get used to that comfort, which is slowly killing them.
Do
So
you believe in a position where a human being doesn't have any need for a change at all? Do you believe
no,
that
I
this state is real in our world?
it is, yes. I think that it is possible to achieve that state, but it's only like probably 0.01% who are the ones who can achieve. So I would guess, because like I can't say it like 100% because I haven't been there or didn't experience that. I would think like people like Osho, Christ, or Muhammad had that, where they like just basically feel ecstatic every second of their being. They don't need outside any, like, everything's inside. So basically, they just stay the way they are, and the rest is just moving around.
Hmm. Okay. Um, I have like interesting points on these two ways that you mentioned. So one is one way, just to clarify for ourselves and audience, that one way what you mentioned was achieving everything, all the success you wanted, and understanding that it's not that what you wanted. That's the first one, and the second one is by losing everything. So it's basically
Yes.
go drowning deep to the deepest part of the ocean, and coming back with understanding that the enlightenment, or that finding your true self, finding God, universe, is the most important thing. Yeah, that's what you meant. Yeah.
Like, this idea, what really made me think like that makes sense, let's say, to me.
Um, I was really, from 22 years old, I could say. I'm now 26. So I could say from 22 years old, I was into this type of thinking that One of my first books, so I will basically start from another side. Yeah, it will be better. It will make a
Sure,
clear
sure.
picture how I approached this thinking. So basically, my first book when I was 14 years old was it was not my first book, but it was one of the first books of this kind. So it was a book written by Robin Sharma. It's the monk who sold the Ferrari. And in this book, who read this book, you know what this is about, but who didn't, this book is about a careerist lawyer who got a heart attack during his one of the trials. And after that, he decided to sell everything, leave his best student, with everything what he created, and he went to like a monk place in Tibet, if I remember good, and that's where he understood all the enlightenment thing for himself. And I always that book stayed with me. I started to my hustle. I could say from 16 I was back and forth through the dark roads, and at the age of 22 I really got into who I am. Like, I was not happy. Like, I wasn't satisfied with who I am, how I was created. I'm a fucking product, and I was like, no, that doesn't work that way. What's happening? And during one of the meditations, I experienced very, very big time of that called dark night of the spirit. So I had a dark year of the spirit in 2020. And from that time, I had this opinion that some people achieve that position where they transition for enlightenment when they crave for things. It's not about achieving, it's about really craving at some point, because
Mhm.
you're so attached to that career, to that goal, business, whatsoever you're doing. Yeah. And this book changed my mindset before I stepped into that. So I already ruined that potential of me getting into pursuit of something and then only achieving that enlightenment.
Mhm.
Then about losing everything, I came to the point in my life where I lost myself. Isn't that everything? Because it starts from, like, if there is no you understanding it, there is nothing to lose. Who can lose? And I was like, okay, 2020, very hard period. All that world things, all this illusion, Maya, and I'm suffering. Basically, like, worst year of my mental suffering was 2020. It was the most beautiful year, but the worst year for suffering. And during one meditation, I became a flower. I was okay. And I had a voice in my head. In next life, I will make you a flower. It's my mind playing. The next stage, I'm transitioning from a flower to the grass, which is touching the flower. And I'm just pure consciousness of, like, there is no body, there is no up, there's no below, there's no above, there's no below. I'm just like pure state of awareness. I'm feeling that the grass is moving. Yeah. What is moving the grass? Wind. I'm wind. From wind, and I'm transitioning into just that pure understanding. And I'm coming back. I had the sense of coming back to the body, and I was like, what just happened? And after you experience this state of wholeness, it's no way back, really, because you cannot forget this. The
Yes.
experience itself, it's it's so powerful that you cannot define it.
Mhm.
And you know that events, the major events in life, they stuck. It's like trauma. It's like trauma. So basically, I slowly started to get into Buddhism, into Islam, into Catholic things. I was always reading bits and bobs about all the religions. I started to go deeper. And one day I just looked at the baby, and I was like, what kind of achievement we talking about? It's a birthright. Enlightenment is a birthright. And with our mental prism, we create states, the journey, but there is no such a thing as journey. Yes, we see future. Yeah, we think about past. We are present. This journey is a thing, but it happens in a moment. Think about this. It's a journey that happens in a moment. Same with enlightenment. I read, I think Mahaji or Robert Adams was speaking about this. Is that enlightenment happens in a split second, in a moment, but the journey to that moment is a journey. It happens over time. For some people, historically, like Jesus, maybe Krishna. I haven't read about Krishna. I cannot say something about his story, but what I can say, they all had experience. Same with Buddha, he had experience. Same with other people who was considered as a guru. But if you will read properly the scriptures, most of them even don't hold themselves as a guru. They just random people who got a gift from a God, from their inner self, from the spirit who we all are, to transmute that message of understanding, of compassion.
Yes, one of the things which I really like the way you put it is that when we lose everything, like you lost yourself. And that's for me the way I see it, like that when we achieve something like that success, we achieve something what is basically created by the world, by the media, or by like the success
Yes.
which is kind of put.
Yes.
So it's a creation, but it's separate from us. So we have to get the creation in order to move it out of the way, that we could see what's like in the other side of the creation of ours.
I was thinking about this recently, honestly, like because you know a little bit about what I do, and all these things, what's happening currently in my life, events for coming up, opportunities arising, and I'm classified in the society as an entrepreneur. Yeah, I'm all right with that. It's the words we use. But I was thinking, what event in life could make me feel that way, like why I'm in this journey, and I believe that life is a destiny. I'm a fatalist, like I told in a previous podcast, that I don't believe in a freedom of choice, and what really came to my mind is that when I was a child, if the Dragon Ball Z, the Saiyans and so on, that it's anime thing. I don't know why, but I was so, because I was growing without the father, maybe, but I was so obsessed with that main character. He was so generous, so loving, he was so powerful. He was so hustling, in the training sessions, and I was like, that's who I am. That's what I want to be, I want to help people. I want to help world. I want to save world, And I can tell you directly, I was living with this mentality from, I don't know, And so isn't that preconditioned thing? And I have no need to stop doing something or start doing something, because there is less and less conversations I have in my mind, because if you don't have a conversation, there is no one who wants to do something or who doesn't want to do something. So that point where I said I lost myself, was a point where I found myself, and still I'm in a journey that was created in a way for me to come up with that.
Yeah, but it's like what you're saying, I 100% like agree, because like I see the picture, but that's what I mean when I say that that was a creation, like you were created, the product, you lost the product, and that was a way for you to find yourself.
Yes.
So basically you had an opportunity to see beyond the product.
Yes.
And it's interesting, scary, funny, whatever you want to call it, that usually traumas are the gift, the real gifts, and the success is usually just a trial if you learned the lesson to hold the gift which you learned by having a trauma.
It's like a like a bus stop where you don't exit.
What do you mean?
So you're driving in a bus.
Yeah.
That's your life. That's your journey. Whatever
Hmm.
you got, whatever is your body karma, you enjoying this trip. Success is like a bus stop where you don't exit.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. The
yeah.
trauma is the one where you have the biggest memories, the most impactful memories, and some trauma is not always bad. Think about this. Like we all
I
say
think that
trauma.
all trauma is good. It just depends if we have
Oh
the
yeah.
will and
Oh
the
yeah.
courage to unwrap the gift which is there.
Even like example, what I mean by saying good or bad, because we understand that every trauma, even the most horrifying traumas, at some point, is changing the world,
A
changing
blessing.
collective consciousness. Something is happening
Yes.
because of that. Yeah. But what I mean about good trauma is that sometimes people experience good events, uplifting events, and still also trauma.
Yeah.
Someone who won lottery. Yeah, it was a good day for them, but also it brings huge responsibility. And I heard this statistic. I'm not sure it's right, is it true or not, but that around 95% of lottery winners get back broke, even worse than it was before. Why? It
As
was
far as
such
I
a
know,
great
yeah.
moment.
I didn't
It's
check the statistics, but I think so.
it's such a great opportunity in life. Like for someone who is hustling, entrepreneur and so on, they would be given like big money, they could invest, change world and so on. And some people who get the money, they just like go down. Like, why? It's such a good moment. So not everything that seems good is good, and not everything that seems bad is bad. Same like my healing, when I started to build the knowledge, when I got tools with my first mentorship with Dr. Zuzana. uh, she teach me five things, five traumas, and five antidotes. And this journey, like, of understanding that, where it started, by going back to there, and
Hmm.
relearning the trauma, understanding that these events in our life was a gift. Find that, what is beautiful in that, what was the teachings out of it. Because many people, I personally know from my family, from my circle, who live with the trauma, and they say, yeah, I'm all right with that, but they cannot forgive the person. And at the end of the story, if you cannot forgive somebody out there, you cannot forgive yourself, because that's an inner projection.
Yes. So I would have a question. What is your definition of enlightenment then? Like if you can put it in a sentence or two.
State of being.
State of being.
I'm enlightened right now, fully.
State of being.
It's a God's given birthright to everyone who can experience it. There is
Yes.
no state that is not an enlightenment. That's the mind which is saying that it's not enlightenment.
Okay. Interest.
Silence,
Interest.
stillness, isn't that?
Mm-hmm.
When on 27th day, Buddha. I'm bad with stories, but on the 27th day, Buddha was meditating near the tree, and he told for his disciples that they don't wake up him, because he was going for a pursuit of enlightenment. And if I remember well, he said when he woke up, like exponentially, he said, there is no one who can achieve the enlightenment, because there is no one like me and you. It's that state, the only one state what we are, in silence. Like people say meditation is the way to enlightenment. Who is meditating? You trying to achieve something with meditation. Go wash dishes. and don't think about your job.
Yeah,
That's the best meditation.
I really like this. Not sure why I read this, but like that the monks who meditate in the caves, like it's easy for them because the second they would try to come to Western world and live the way we live, it's like the meditations would be out of the world, out of through the
Oh
window. I
yeah.
mean, they
You
could.
know,
Yeah, so I know
I
what
had
you're saying.
like a year ago, I had a conversation with one Muslim person. He's strong believer, very religious person, and I can tell you one of the most happiest people for me was religious people, because the dogma is very powerful, you know. And I remember I was like in a conversation with him, and he was like challenging my beliefs all this time. And at one point, it triggered me, you know. It triggered me, and I felt something, you know. And I was like, "All right, what's happening? What are you feeling? Well, how does it change anything?" And I was like, I focused to my breathing, I focused to my body, I sensed every millimeter of my body, and I was just back in the moment. I was just, you know, on the flow, and we had tremendous conversation with that person. Of course, he was trying to convert me to Islam, and I said to him, you know, my friend, you know, I'm a friend of every religion. I have nothing against any sort of religion, even the most terrifying ones, because that's your journey. That's what was given for you. And that one day, if you will change something in your beliefs, you will change. Maybe you will end up this journey that way, you know. But I don't believe I was born or I will die. That's not in my system, not in the system.
Mm-hmm. Not relevant.
Yeah, so not relevant, you know. So it's really important that meditation stays when, you know, we live in this Western world. Okay, I'm living in UK, and I'm in business, you know. And the business is something like, you know, I have this self-expression, my body, my character, my charisma that is expressing itself. Is I can sense that it's a business wise, you know, like, you know. But I have nothing to do with that. Like, it's just happening. I'm feeling full compassion. I'm currently looking to you, and all I see that it's just happening, you know. It's no separation really.
Just a state of being.
Yeah, it's not. Sometimes, you know, it was like many times it was not easy, you know, because you, especially when you know someone personally and you have a judgment about it. It's especially because if there is no judgment, if there is only a line of it's all one, but you have to feel it, you have to believe in it, you have to experience it. It's given, you know. I don't think you can learn this through books. Yes, you can, the theory, but the reality of that, it's easy to say, you know, we are one. You know, you see different people, you see wood, you know, you see the ceilings, you know, you see everything. But I'm seeing the main concept of existence.
Yeah, like as you're saying, is having the knowledge doesn't mean you have the wisdom, because knowledge is just 50% of the experience of the wisdom, I would say.
It's very funny thing, the knowledge. think,
Yeah,
think about this.
and it
It's
goes
like,
both ways.
mhm. Yeah, you use it as a stepping stone at some sort in this journey. And yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful how this knowledge changes, you know, how this knowledge can be
Changes
crushed.
the angle, the way you see it.
69.
Yeah, always going in circles, going up.
So yeah, if you know, if you would like me, you know, we still got 6 minutes. But I can tell you that, you know, if you would ask me about enlightenment, the easiest way, or whatever would be the question, I would say accept the birth given right for enlightenment, because that's your natural state. This all cultural programming, all this illusion, what we live in, all these political events, demographic events, economical events, recessions, and so on, all this BS, it's a proper BS that you can be above it, fully function, move on, strive. You don't need to stop doing business, you don't need to quit your family, stop being married, or get 5 wives. You don't need to
Go
do
live in
all
the
this nonsense.
mountain.
You know, it's I remember Dr. Shoshana said me one very powerful sentence. Is not the worst part is not that we want something. The worst part is when we get that what we want, we stop wanting it. That's the worst part, because you are so ungrateful, because you gave yourself what you wanted, and now you don't want it anymore, because there are some uh, social dogmas that stepping us into certain beliefs.
Yeah, I feel that we kind of wrapped up the topic, and we can finish off with this what you said. And thank you for sharing this, because this is an interesting way to see it. And for me, it actually changed the lens through the way I kind of experience this. Because at the given moment, I like to just notice the moment, and every time I think the moment is not comfortable, it's too hot, it's too cold, or anything, I try to understand that's just part of me and accept it without trying to when it's gonna finish, it's 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, I need to run off, or I need to think about what's next, just to kind of create the suffering for myself. Instead, I just choose, focus on the breathing. And breathing is one of the things which we're gonna talk more broad in one of our podcasts in the future.
I will share one more thing.
Yeah.
When you told me it's too hot, too cold, I remembered my third encounter of wellness. So I was in the ice lake for 10 minutes, and what I was doing, I was diving into the water, having a swim, coming back to the waters, and I was holding myself there, and I was observing my breath. I was meditating, and I disappeared in the water. I'm telling you, I was the air on the water, and I was the water, and I had no body. And I will tell you one secret: what I was doing in my mindset silently, like at that point in my life. So I was going into shower, in the cold shower in the morning, yeah, and I was saying to myself that if I can start my day with a discomfort for my personal and inner growth, what else can trigger me during the day? Because it's the
Nice
first thing,
challenge
you
to
jump
have.
from a warm, hot bed. If you have a spouse or somebody, you know how heavy it is to jump from a hot bed, and go straight to the cold shower. But if you do this, this will start to elevate your mind into the moment of stillness. Because if you jump into the shower in 1 minute, that's not that. What I was telling for my clients, like example, go there into the shower, 10 minutes, enjoy, make it warm. And then when I was swimming in an ice lake, I was staying in one place, solid, breathing. This water was hot for me. I'm telling you, it was hot for me. How changes that a perspective? The same is with suffering. If you will start seeing suffering as an illusion that your mind created, you will go through it, because it's a temporary state.
Yeah,
Pain, discomfort.
sounds sounds like I need to go to dip in a sea this weekend.
Oh, if you go see near you, just drive a bike. Take a bus, man. It's a huge gift. I'm telling you, it's a huge gift. And
Yeah, I'll try
especially
to
if you
find.
can be alone. Especially if you can be alone.
I'll see how it goes. I'll let you know on the next
My
podcast
pleasure.
how this
Okay,
will go.
okay,
Okay,
okay.
so thank you for this topic, and see you next Thursday then.
See you next time, Marius and everyone. Thank you.
Bye.